Well, somehow I found Amelia Earhart for whatever the reason, and I noticed that she died or disappeared in 1937, and she was 39 years old, but they didn't declare her dead until 1939, age 41. So you got your 37, 41, 39, 39. So I can't remember what I was doing, something to do with airplanes, and I thought of Amelia Earhart, and I looked her up here, and it says that she disappeared on July 2nd, 1937, and she was 39 years old. But they didn't declare her dead until age 41 in 1939. So you got your 37, 41, and then she was 39 and 37, and then in 1939 she was 41. So you got like your two 39s. It's kind of, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, I mean, you got all of it significant right there. It's just kind of strange. The airplane that she disappeared on was the Lockheed Model 10 Electra. And the first flight of this model was on February 23rd, or 223. He was in a group, a women's pilot group called the 99s. And it also was founded on November 2nd, so 11/2 or 22 in 1929. When I think of that too, it's called the 99s, which is two nines, and then it was in 1929. And it says all 117 women pilots licensed at the time were invited, and the group is named for the 99 of them who attended the meeting. So you got your 7-11, 11-7, which is also, come on, 7-11, your 9-11, and they were the 99s, or if you 66, depending. So the flight around the world, that's what she was attempting to do, was to, I can't remember if it was to be the first woman to fly around the whole world, or if it was to be the first person. I think it was first woman. Anyway, it says she landed, I can't remember where it is here. Anyway, before she died, she only had she had flown 22,000 miles. So there's a 22, and she still had 7,000 miles remaining, which would make it a 29,000 mile trip. And then, so there you go. And she was also born in Atchison, Kansas, which is on the 39 degrees north, 95 degrees west. Well, there's your 39 again. Like I said, 1937 is when she disappeared, age 39. And then in 1939, at age 41, they declared her dead. So after that, I thought of people who died in plane crashes, and whatever the reason, Buddy Holly was the first person I thought of. And I looked Buddy Holly up here, and he died on February 3rd, 1959. So he died on 2/3/23. In 1959, I've talked about multiple times. It goes with the 55s. He was also 22 years old. He died in a plane crash with other famous people here. It was Richie Valens, the La Bamba guy. And he was born in 1941. And he was 17 years old. And if you mirror 1771, that adds up to 88. And 1941 would make him 73 years old if he would have lived. Here. Check. The other famous person was the Big Bopper, BB-88. And I just talked about Saved by the Bell a little bit ago, and I just reminded me of an episode of Saved by the Bell where they find the radio station in the basement. And this is the principal on Saved by the Bell, and he talks about how in his high school days he ran the radio station and he was the Big Bopper. And he's born on November 18th, which is your 1118, 888, your 88. So if you include the Miss Miss Bliss season, Good Morning Miss Bliss season, it's actually season 2, episode 3 of Saved by the Bell that I'm talking about here. So, but if you include it, it is the 32nd episode, and then season 2, episode 3. So you got 23, 32. So then it says in 1988, Ken Packett, a Wisconsin fan of the 1950s era, he made a special monument that had to deal with this plane crash, and that was in 1988. And then you keep reading here, and it says he also created a similar stainless steel monument to the 3 musicians that is located outside the Riverside Ballroom in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where Holly, the Big Bopper, and Valance played their second to last show on the night of February 1st, 1959. So if you look up Green Bay, Wisconsin, it's located on 44 degrees north, 88 degrees west. The pilot of the airplane was Roger Peterson. He was born in 1937. And it says Peterson's total flying time was listed in said report as 711 hours of experience. So 711 again. So I'm going to get back to Buddy Holly here. Okay, so like I said, he was born on September 7th, which is actually 7-7, in Lubbock, Texas. And Lubbock, Texas was one of the first places that it was one of the first great UFO cases. On August 1951, a V-shaped formation of lights was seen over the city, and it was called the Lubbock Lights. Shows in his early life, he met Bob Montgomery in junior high school, and they went around and played music together, and they were mostly bluegrass. And he kind of changed his style to rockabilly after he seen Elvis Presley in 1955. But anyway, let's click on Bob Montgomery here. He was born in 1937, and he died this year, actually, a couple weeks ago or whatever, December 4th of this year. So he died age 77. So I remember that they had the Richie Valens story movie, and then I remembered they had the Buddy Holly story movie. And he was played by Gary Busey. And Gary Busey was born in 1944. All right, and Gary Busey was in a 1988 movie called Bulletproof. Now just check this out here. Okay, so on the cover here of this movie, it literally has him marked for death, basically. They have the radar thing on the gun that's going, the scope or whatever, it's going right into his right eye. So they're kind of foreshadowing that they want to kill him, right? And this was in, well, let's see when this movie came out. This movie was released May 13th, 1988. And in let's see here. And it says down here on December 4th, 1988, which would have been just later on in the year after that movie was released, that Busey was severely injured in a motorcycle accident in which he was not wearing a helmet. His skull was fractured, and doctors fear he suffered permanent brain damage. Makes you kind of wonder, like they foreshadowed him getting shot or whatever on the cover of that movie, and then he was in a bad motorcycle accident later on in that year. Alright, now check this out. In 1996, Busey publicly announced that he was a Christian, saying, "I am proud to tell Hollywood I am a Christian. For the first time, I am now free to be myself." Why would he have to tell Hollywood? Why not just the whole world? I'm proud to tell Hollywood I am a Christian. And it's the first time he's finally free to be himself. And then everything you ever hear about this guy now, he's on drugs and everything else. He's on celebrity rehab and whatnot. I don't know. It's crazy to me. So, I mean, is he saying that Hollywood is satanic or something? And He had to tell Hollywood that he's finally free because he's a Christian. So I also thought of Buddy Holly. One of the most famous songs I know by him is called "That'll Be the Day," and even says, "That'll be the day that I die." Right? And I mean, this is a song, whatever. That's one of the most famous song I can think of, and it actually came out on the Chirping Crickets album. When before it was like his name, they named it the band or whatever, but the song was recorded May 27th, 1957, and that's the song. That's the one that most people know. But the song was actually really recorded before that, and it just wasn't released. And it came out on his third album called "That'll Be the Day," and the song was actually recorded on July 22nd, 1956. So the original recording of this song, "That'll Be the Day," came out, it was recorded on July 22nd, 1956. And it was 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. Well, he says, "That'll be the day that I die." 23/2/3. And when did he die? February 3rd. 2/3. I mean, really? He predicted his death in that song. 2/3. That'll be the day that I die. Anyway, that's all I'm going to say about this. Have a great night.